Okay, this second VOD review is for Kroel, and you were playing Magneto and Psylocke, which luckily are also two of my very common picks. So this one will actually be pretty fun. You started on Magneto, and then you switched over to Psylocke, which both looked pretty good when I was like preemptively looking at the footage, but there are a couple of things that you can improve on. So we'll just get into that. Poking early for some early ult charge, good idea. Right here, just keep poking, keep poking, keep poking. Right here is the first mistake I'm going to see you do a lot of times. Bubbling your tank. Bubbling your tank is the same as like bubbling yourself. You don't really need it so much. Your bubbles count for about 300 health, right? Venom is here in front. What he's doing here, I don't exactly know. He's taking a lot of damage, but that also just means it's just going to charge your support ults. He still has his E, and he still has this much health bar. Bubbles don't go nearly as far on tanks as they do on squishy heroes. So using it in a clutch moment to try and save someone or to enable your DPS goes a lot farther than bubbling your tank. So or yourself. So here, just keep poking, keep poking, keep poking. Not much you can do. Using this early to get more damage off is good. But also, like, when you do stuff like that and you have that ability, get Magneto to use his shield or something and then try to use it so that way he doesn't absorb it if you can. Doesn't always work out that way, but, just try. This is good. This is good. Don't bubble. Yeah, you bubble him again. Because here's the thing, too, is like, they have a Bucky, right? And Bucky, like Roadhog in Overwatch, is going to hook someone. And the moment he hooks and pulls someone in, you're going to be upset if you don't have that bubble later, if he grabs like a support or a squishy or something who steps out of position. Reloading around cover, good. I think right now, so once again, you see how you bubble the tank again? Where's your Scarlet Witch? I don't know if you caught that, but like right beforehand, she was right there. So the squishy was, yeah, there she is. And then she dies right afterwards. This is why I say, like, use your bubbles on your squishy heroes. Like, if you're playing Psylocke, because from playing Psylocke, if you're attacking and suddenly while attacking you get bubbled and you have 300 extra health immediately, you could take another couple of seconds to possibly secure a kill or escape. That goes way farther on any squishy than it does on a tank. Especially when the tanks have, like, resources. Usually what I talk about is all your stuff down here. Your alt, your abilities on cooldown, but what's also another resource is your health and how much of it you have. If you're using a bubble when you're at full HP, it doesn't really go very far. What you want to do is sort of like use bubbles on people who are imminent danger, which doesn't mean never use it on the tank. There are times in this you will definitely use the bubble correctly on Venom in order to save him. That's good timing for that. But for the most part, especially when tanks are full health, they don't need it. Use it to enable your team. And somehow Winter Soldier got your got your cloak and dagger. Where the heck was she? All the way in the back after her ult ran out? Well, that's not much you can do on that one. Luckily, Spider-Man got another pick. You're getting out, which is fine. You got another pick on Cloak and Dagger, which is good, which means right there, good bubble. I saw that they lost both supports, though, and you have a support, so I would be poking from this angle here with this rocket. Oh, wait, they have 3, though, don't they? No? Wait. No, they have 2. Yeah. I saw Spider-Man get both supports, which means that you should be playing a little bit more aggressive on those guys. If you held that space with like your abilities and your health bar, you might have been able to keep Venom alive by poking them out and doing more damage. But now you're playing super passive and you're resetting, but now the supports are back. Follow up on who your Spider-Man is hitting. Yep, good. Nice shot. But Now you're going to get collapsed on, right? You rotated all the way around when you had health and resources and the advantage. And in that small amount of time, they managed to push up and take the advantage back from you. And then everybody just falls apart from here. And this just staggers you guys farther, which sucks. Just die. Yeah. But yeah, if you look back, I'll go back real quick. So let's see. Venom was dead. Let me just go back another little bit here. From right here, I remember, yep, there goes Rocket. Backing up, you're trying to stay alive, you're giving up space, which is the right call. Rocket's just now coming out of spawn, Cloak and Dagger dies. They have no support. They have no support. You have your shield, you have range, you have poke, you have Rocket there, you have health, poke, 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 and you start to walk away. You had the advantage, you just didn't notice it. And during that time, you could have poked them out and even shielded for your Venom and just kind of like forced them back. And you would have had more space and more people alive. But because you didn't, they collapsed in on you and started to kill the rest of your team and then follow up on you afterwards. Once again, when I review these things, this is all hindsight 2020. Sometimes in the complete crazy action of things, you just miss this stuff, and it's totally understandable. Like, my VODs aren't free of mistakes either. There's lots of stuff I learned by watching my stuff back and being like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Bubble him? Yep, perfect. See? That bubble on that Spider-Man goes really far. Yep. Yep, staying around corners. This is... I don't think the shield does anything to stop him. I might be wrong. This might need to be something to double check, because I know I instinctively do that too, but I think it's better to bubble that, either preemptively the squishy or yourself first. Not that it mattered because you missed, but like, just, I would double check that maybe in the practice range. Good shots. Good bubble. Venom, I think, gets out. They're pushing the payload really far right now for free, as it's just auto doing this, so something sort of needs to happen. Peeling your backline, which is good. Force her out. Venom got a kill on the Cloak and Dagger, which is good. See, Venom has all that resource for that health meter. And right there, good bubble. Because you saw that he didn't have his E and his health bar was getting low and he got hooked. Good bubble. Magneto works just like Zarya does in Overwatch, where her strength is how she enables her team to use bubbles. Because right here, you're going to do it again. And he had his E up. He dies anyway because he shouldn't have been there. I think he misses E. Good dunk, by the way. I think Venom dying there was not on you. Like, even maybe, I think he might have mistimed his E or something, but the rocket ult, like, gave people a lot of damage to break right through him. Good bubble on the squishy. Paying attention to the bubble. I think I just saw, let's see. Spider-Man came back, but it looks like they got a kill. Good kill. It sucks that your bubble was up at the exact moment that he died, but... Okay, right there, when she uses her right-click on her, or her healing bubble on herself, unless there's follow-up, there's not much you can do, so try and find someone else like Rocket, just like that. Try to see who your team is attacking and follow up on that. And just hold that space and keep that payload from moving forward. Your goal as a tank is to hold the space and do the objective. So all you have to do is just make sure that you keep the objective from moving forward. And you use your range to poke from far away, poke past the tank and shoot past everyone to try and get the squishies, but holding that objective. Bubble them early again. Watching the VOD review back in editing, I realized that at this moment exactly, I like your positioning a lot better here than versus being up in this location because of the fact that when you're here, you can keep this payload from moving up. And this is ultimately like what you want to do as tank, especially as Magneto, is you want to try and like keep that objective from moving forward the best you can. And you can use it also as cover a little bit. But here you can still see a good LOS of the enemy supports and people at the back line, but also maintain and keep them from pushing the objective any farther. So if I had to say anything, I think this is also just comes down to your confidence as tank and being able to hold that space. But like if you have bubbles, if you have shield, if you have health, you can play a little bit more confidently. It's when you start to lose those, and then you can start to back up. But otherwise, this location I like a lot more because, yeah, as you can see with Magneto's range, these people would be great targets for you. Anyway, now back to the video. Good hit. Here's where you get aggressive because you have a cloak ult, but now you're going to put yourself in a position where you are surrounded. Bubbling squishy good, but now you're surrounded. Good follow-up, though. So this is the bad part. Yeah, a lot of times people get too aggressive and they sort of lose sight of like their positioning, and they get too tunnel vision on like, oh, I need to kill this person at the back. But like, well, who's easier to kill? Someone at the very back trying to hit your shots solo as Magneto, or just try and bubble the Spider-Man and then shoot who he is diving, especially since he has the Venom team up. Like, you could have held this corner here and just poked from afar at whoever he was diving in on and just bubbling him repeatedly and then just shooting whoever his targets were. I will say that like by this time I had noticed that this guy was popping off all game. And that's something to take an observation of. What you should do is when you see one person specifically popping off all game is you hit tab and you see a score like this. You're like, this person is now my problem. Like, too often people are just, attacking whoever, right? And just like the marking video and conversation, as soon as I see that one person is doing immensely better than the rest of the team, I'm like, that's their carry. That's like the keystone of like their entire team. The keystone, I think this is from my school time in school. Arches, stone arches. There's that one stone at the top that keeps the entire arch together. You pull that apart and the entire thing crumbles. If this person is just focused the rest of the game by you sitting there at the front, holding that objective behind cover and just poking that Bucky repeatedly, forcing him to get pushed back, even if you don't kill him, at least if you keep him from playing and keep him from capitalizing on the chaos, you have a better chance of winning. So if you ever see someone who's like this, keep the target safe, the squishies who he is shooting at, and literally just poke him the rest of the game. Just like target priority video though, like you're picking people specifically, but like when you can, you're like, I need to make sure that this guy is just not getting away with what he's been getting away with. Because I can't tell you how many times that like that happens to me where I become in a lot of the games that like I play because of like my macro understanding and stuff. People start to catch on to like, oh, this one person's really good at this one hero. And then what they do is they literally just shut me down from playing. And then it sucks because of the fact that no matter who I pick, I am just targeted the rest of the game and I have to try extra hard to try and get value. Whereas I need to rely on the rest of my team in order to pick up the slack. And lots of times it just doesn't happen. So like as soon as you start focusing that one person, the game might suddenly get a lot easier. Good bubble. Right there, he got hooked. And I want you to notice that, like, Not far back enough. So he engages, he bubbles. So this right there is good because now as he does his combo, he's not taking extra damage in the air. You see Bucky ready his hook, that's when you shield. Because then he grabs your Spider-Man, which he lives, but just saying, if Bucky is looking at you, he wants to, and he's got his hook up, he's going to want to use it. Didn't charge it enough, I think. Oh no, it is the thing. It just didn't charge long enough. It looked like it charged long enough, but maybe it might have needed to be 3 force away full. See right there, Magneto messed up. He's bubbling a full health tank, right? He didn't need that. Maybe he meant to hit the Winter Soldier, which by the way, for your Magneto settings, there's a setting for your bubble target accuracy where it's set to like 100, where it's just like you could be right here facing Venom and like hit your bubble on an ally and you're facing this way and it might hit Cloak and Dagger to your left because it's just like it's like easy swing on Spider-Man where it's very forgiving. And if you want it to be more accurate, you turn that number down. I think I have mine set to 20 and I might even lower it to like 15 because there's too many times where I'm trying to target someone directly in front of me. My cursor's on them, but because there's someone near me on my right or my left, it'll bubble them instead. If I turn that setting down, it gets more accurate. So yeah, that would be a recommendation I have for Magneto. There are some things where it's just like, oh, it's not the game, it's your personal play. But sometimes, like, it is definitely the game or like your setup. That's like with your sensitivity or your settings, things like that could make your life easier. Bucky's up there. Harass the shit out of him. Go to the jump pad and push him out. Push him out. Push him out. So you have a crap ton of health. You just saw him hook as well. Like, a tank versus a DPS, tanks sort of have the advantage in that they won't kill as quickly, but they do have more health to be able to absorb more hits, and it'll take you a few more hits than a DPS to kill them. You won't do it as quickly, but you do push them out. So because of the fact that he's up there for free and he's still shooting, and then we walk away and leave him alone, and he's still up there. Oh, Cloak got him, which is good. But that should have been something you should have done. You should have gone up there and just said, no, like, you're not taking this space for free. You are the space controller. You are the tank. Don't bubble the tank. Yeah. Good hits. Keep poking, keep poking, keep poking. I think you're just kind of poking, like throwing stuff in there, peeling for your supports first, which is good. It's the right play. I feel like we're losing a lot of space on the objective. I feel like you're definitely like less confident on tank. Shoot the rocket. You're pumping damage into all of them, and it's kind of like not specifically targeted. Because you're pumping damage into the tanks, and that's exactly what they want to have, right? Yeah, here you have a bubble, and you're bubbling your tank. You have your shield, you have cover here. You should be hanging out more on like this side, so that way if you have to, you can shoot from a nice safe range. You can see the LOS of your entire team over here and bubble them. And also, if you needed to, you could have just backed up into this room or walked around in this way. Like, all cover is cover. Right now, you're standing in the open, and you still have resources, but you're hanging really far back. And you might have been able to save that Cloak and Dagger if you were up closer, like on this corner, like play this edge here, right? I have a video I'm literally about to make right after this that talks about shooting from a safe position in which you can see who only you have to see. And if you were standing right here, you would have had LOS of your team very easily, as well as seeing everyone over here, and you still had your shield to back up if you needed to. but you definitely could have saved your cloak and dagger, which why she's there, I'm not entirely sure, but we can't affect what our teammates are doing. So all you can do is try and negate like either their bad plays and try and enable them the best they can. This is good though. Focusing squishies. Poke past, poke past, poke past. Yeah, because right now you were like focusing the tanks, and you could have shot a little bit to the left and push the squishies out more. Like this. This is good tanking right there. That's you just pushing them back and saying, "Hey, get out." You have health, and it's just a venom. There you go. Good kill. Okay, so this one is a bit more nitpicky, and it's really hard to do, but the reason why that failed is because it hit this wall. And you know that eventually Cloak and Daggers get smarter about where they're going to go in order to avoid getting hit by this, but you know that they're going to try and go around a wall. So the moment that they go forward, you should kind of try to follow them, but the moment they come back, they try to go back this way. If you would have been lined up to be able to see, like if you would have been right here, you would have had LOS of here or in this area, right? Now it's really hard to be able to say that like do that in the moment. But when you're ulting, it's not just, oh, I need to hit her. It's also I need to position myself to be prepared for her to go in. And you have to be trying to think of things ahead of time of like where could she possibly go and where do I need to be so I could possibly see her. It would be very difficult to control, but just something to sort of like predict later. Because right there, you're focused so hard on aiming, you're not thinking about your position. Even knowing that, though, once again, it's going to be really difficult to do, but it's the only counterplay you have in that option, in that moment. I think if you would have walked through there and gone and broken the LOS, you might have survived. I don't know for sure, but that's what I would have tried to do, but I don't know. Ah, the Psylocke. This is what I want to see. Poke, 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 poke. Reset your cooldowns. Yep. This is a good spot. We're not as good. Still good. I'll tell you why in a second. Here, fantastic spot. You see how you're missing all of your shots here? Here's the best place to stand because of the fact that they're going to be strafing back and forth left and right in order to try and dodge the enemy shots up here. They're not going to be moving front and back, which means that your ability to hit headshots is super, super easy. You have this cover here, which keeps you completely hidden from them to easily step behind to reload. Or if you had to get away to safety, you could easily dash up here. You have your cloak. You have a lot of different exit strategies, but especially with Psylocke, with her mobility, she can get to high ground really fast. I would have stayed here on this side and just kept poking them in the head. Because like right now, they're still not turning at you, right? You're pumping damage, they're not turning. But you abandoned this position early to walk up. And now there's time in the fight where you're not actively shooting when the fight is still happening. And you go to the back, and now you're trying to hit this target, which is going in the air and bouncing all around. And it's much more difficult. I would have stayed in that spot as long as I could have until they looked at me and I became a problem. And then when I got pushed out, I would have tried to rotate around or even go back to that same spot just to keep them pincered like that. Because even if you don't kill anyone, applying pressure from that position will give openings for your team as well. Dash again, dash again, dash again. Yep. That's the I'm gonna call it the tracer brain, where Tracer in Overwatch, she's for those who don't know, is a highly mobile, very squishy character that gets one shot by everything in the game. So the way that you do well on Tracer is you predict the incoming damage that's coming your way, and you get out of there super fast. And you try to always have an angle where you're using your mobility and blinking around the map in order to get into positions where you're safe and you can shoot comfortably. And the biggest problem here was you had resources up and you were 98% on your ult, which would have been huge if you could have had it more with your team or been alive with your team. And a lot of times, like, what you do at Tracer is you would recall predicting when you were about to die, not when your health got low. So you might even do it when you had full health, just because of the fact that it would put you into a better position. Psylocke here works very similar in the same way, where you dashed to get away from the Bucky, which was correct, and then you needed to immediately like dash up in the air and then cloak, which makes it much easier to track where she is, and then fall and try and get into a safe place. Because yeah, you this is something I tell people all the time. Like, if you're close to your ultimate and you notice that you're like 80%, that's when you don't need to make a play. That's when you play super safe and you just farm your ult. Like, especially when you're getting into overtime, you do not want to die close to your ult being ready. Because now you have your ult. Cloak's ult ran out. And now you're going to come out. Good ult. Really good ult. I'm really surprised you didn't die right there. This, I would have gone for that. I would have said that I might have gone for that health pack, but you actually did the right thing here by coming back to the payload with Cloak coming out from spawn. Pushing him back. Yep. Now you have amplifier. Everything is squishy. Good. You still managed to hold the point, which is fantastic, but that death right there was avoidable. And here's where I look at that again and saw that Kuma Duma is 28 and 5. He's your problem. This, once again, side angle. Good angle. Shoot, shoot, shoot. That's good. Okay. I might not have gone back all the way this far. Or we might have stopped farther away. Because, like, sometimes moving backwards is, like, lost space. You could have maybe stood behind, like, cover there. Because Venom wasn't looking at you. And you could have, like, pinged for heals. Oh, I changed my middle mouse button to not be the ping wheel, but just be I need healing. So, and I do this in Overwatch as well. It's just like when I ping I need healing, or I need to say like I need to get heals quickly, it's much easier to just middle click that for me and just say like, hey, I need healing like right now. Whatever button works quickly for you. And I know sometimes like supports don't like seeing the I need healing thing, but it's mostly when there's like a Spider-Man who's in Narnia and out of LOS who's pinging I need healing. But like if you're standing still behind cover and you ping I need healing and they turn and they see that you're standing still, they just pump you full of heals. Like that to me, works way better, especially in this game where, when someone talks, you don't even get to see their name up in the top left sometimes. So it's just like someone's like, I need healing. I'm like, dude, I don't know who you are. Like, I just met you. Like, this is not. We have no idea of understanding who that is. But when I'm playing support and I get a sound notification of I need healing, it tells you which direction it's coming from. So that's the reason why, to me, I get just abandon the ping system entirely, and I just use the I need healing one because that one's more important to me. So I switch that around, stand behind cover, and stand still and ping, and then I get healed. Like, it's much more effective. This is good. You're harassing. Once again, I would try to use my mobility to rotate around the backside and kind of like poke. Nobody on the enemy team has crazy good mobility, so like high ground or a little bit of range and stuff is not bad. Like nobody really other than Venom has ways to get to you, but you can easily deal with Venom. But you see how much harder it is to land your shots when you're up top here? Good job getting out. That was good predictive of like sensing danger and leaving. That is exactly what people need to do on Psylocke. Grab the health. Good angle. I'm going to let you know right now. This one scares the crap out of me. Like, this is the one where she can sleep and get you killed really quickly. So right there is like sort of dangerous territory, but right, yeah, because the closer she gets, the more scared I am. But you are causing a good distraction. But once again, they have a rocket and you're a stealth assassin. The res station, if you can't kill the rocket, you got to kill the res station. And it's almost always like in that stairwell or behind that tree or near this area. Good job getting out. I feel like that res station is going to bite you in the butt later, though. At this point, charge your ult. Yeah, not much you can do. You got hooked. It's fine. It was just a good play. I don't know if there was much you could have done there to avoid that. Because once again, like, especially like when you see that stuff on the ground, the rocket packs, like you need to be doing some noticing where it is and trying to figure out where it's at. Nah, that was just a good hook, honestly. Like you were playing around cover and he got you the one time that you poked your head out in all the chaos. You were doing what you should do, which is like charging your ult and playing defensively and trying to play around cover, and sometimes people just land a good hook. Like, I would immediately be trying, but no, with cloak down, I'd be playing. This is playing defensive time and giving up space. This is playing aggressive now. Yep. At this point, I don't think there's anything I really would say. Okay, one thing I did not point out through the first edit was that Mantis used her sleep on you right here when she should have been playing defensively as that Invisible Woman ult came up. She is wildly out of position. Her Cloak and Dagger does not have a good LOS of her, and you are extremely weak to the sleep, but the moment Mantis doesn't have the sleep, she's extremely weak to you. And what I would have done here is I'm sure it was probably a little bit of a panic moment to just try and stay alive, because after you get put to sleep, a lot of times you just die as Psylocke. I would have gone back into the bubble and then turned on her to execute her, and then go from there. Because everyone else here is going to get a lot of support and backup. She's got none. But you guys still come out on top of this. But yeah, anytime you see and know that Mantis doesn't have her sleep, she's much, much weaker to you as Psylocke. So I would try to make her a priority target, because that sleep really shuts us down when we're playing flankers. But without that, like, she's easy pickings. But this is all hindsight 2020. Like I said, like it's much easier for me to watch this back and say this now, but I'm sure like in the craziness of all the stuff that was going on, it was hard to notice. But yeah, if you see Mantis use sleep and it doesn't work out in her favor, try to target her quickly before it comes back off a cooldown. Anyway, back to the video. There's a lot of chaos going on. This is good target prioritization. Yeah, you hear Storm ulting, so you save yours. She cleans up, which is good. Now it's cleanup time. And you see, once again, that angle. Like, Psylocke thrives on getting that off angle when they're looking at everyone else. And she comes from the side. And as they're backing up in a straight line, you're backing up, looking directly at them and moving with them. It's so much easier to aim. Once again, I can't aim for crap, but I just try to like do things where I'm like, oh, it's easier from this direction. I would have fought that Venom, honestly. It's only Rocket left, and you could burst him. Venom doesn't actually do that well against Psylocke. Because like right now, with cleanup time, I would have just been focusing with your team to kill him. Yeah. Because you walked all the way around, there's no reason to. With numbers advantage, you can play a lot more aggressively. I'd be thinking of where I want to beat to ult next. I would want to ult that rocket. It's so juicy. I'm not sure. Let's see. We're using an ult. Okay. They used 2. This is really... Yep, that's a great spot. Fantastic. Really good ult. You played patient, you didn't rush it, you waited until the ults were run out, and then you ulted the backline and you caused that sort of chaos. Like, a lot of people as they rank up, you know, start to time their ults better. Like lower elo people just throw out ults and they don't really think about it because it's just like, oh, this gets me a lot of kills sometimes. Higher elo people, the higher you climb, the more your ults look like that, where you're just like, okay, you know, I know we're down one, but if I wait to just the right moment, it'll be a great moment to clean up. I love this map because there are so many areas in the first and second point where you can dash up and move around. The mobility for Psylocke has on this, like, the flow of playing her is so much fun. Like, high ground maps with lots of high ground where she can dash and get around are maps that she does really well on. So being able to like, you know, attack from up above and poke and then dash back up or back up and get out is so much fun. Like her entire kit just thrives on it. You get caught up on the collision, that's fine. It happens to me all the time. Yep. Once you hear Storm Ult, then your primary thing to do is just follow up on whatever she's attacking. This is good because he's at the back. And then as they're separated, you collapse back in on them. Like, oh, that Bucky's a problem. I really like what you did right here, where you dash one way and you cloaked and then you went back the other way. Really good job. Like, the way that they were split right there and you were attacking at the back and then you're like, oh, there's more on my left, I'm going to collapse in on them with my team. That is really good decision making in the moment. Because no matter who you attack, it's much easier to 2v1 a target or 3v1 a target than it is to try and everybody take their individual fights with high priority picks. Good execute. Good work cleaning up the back. And I would immediately be prepared to dash to high ground. Yep. Oop. Floor's gone. Someone's coming back from spawn right now. I hate those jump pads. Yep. Find who's at the back. There you go. Good job. Who's your problem right now? There you go. Unfortunate that she just barely lived, but you forced ults, and now right now you should be pumping damage into them to get your cooldowns back. There's a little bit of downtime in there, but falling back to collapse on them and get the kill is good. But right now, like, get into a position fast, like, there you go. Good position, good position. This is what I'm talking about with the high ground. Now, right here, you take a little bit of damage, but I would have tried to fight a little bit longer because you lured him into a 1v1, which Winter Soldier does kind of have a little bit of an advantage on Psylocke, but you do have fast mobility and you have your cooldowns. So I would have tried to fight a little bit longer, especially given you had your right click up. Because of the fact that, like, right, that wall right there breaks. So I would have immediately tried to pump damage into him, and you kind of backed out a little bit. That was one of the, like, you could take more 1v1 duels and have a little bit more confidence in your skills there. But he does die for it, which is good. Ignoring the venom and letting them take care of themselves is right. I just saw the res station. Someone's on point. They're keeping it from capping. They're keeping it from moving. Okay. Stand on payload. Move it faster. Nobody's on payload. We're letting the payload moves much faster. You get it moves the fastest if there's at least 3 people on there. However, you get the largest jump in speed when at least one person is on there. After that, it only goes up by increments. So you almost always want to try and find somebody to stand on the payload. Realistically, it should be Rocket because he can heal from a distance, but somebody needs to stand on it. Because if you did, it would have already capped by now. But now they're contesting it. See what I mean? This I don't like. So I'm gonna show you, like, you did something really good, and then you threw your lead. Really good execute. You got it. Used all of your cooldowns. Didn't even need to use your ultimate. And then right here, you should have been playing around this area and just pumping damage into the tanks to get your cooldowns lower. Uh, and instead, I think you were thinking about your ult and trying to get into position for that, but you didn't have to. You could have just stayed up there and, like, with that kill, they only had one support left, and you could have just been pumping so much damage into them with the rocket ultimate that they would have died anyway. Like, uh, you know, the gameplay loop is that cloak in, use your or cloak in or go from the side and use your abilities, and then dash and cloak out or double dash out, and keep that rotation going. But like after you use all your abilities, whether the assassination attempt was successful or not, you still have to like stay back and just pump damage into the front line, either the tanks or the squishies, whoever you manage to be able to see, and reset your cooldowns, and then loop back around and do it again. But with Rocket, yeah. Oh, and then you used your ult. That sucks. Because yeah, with Rocket Ultimate, like Rocket Ultimate doesn't buff Psylocke's damage, so you want to maximize the ability to use that ultimate, because Psylocke is really good at like assassinating people, but when she gets that rocket ultimate, which is a 40% damage boost, like even tanks are squishy at this point. But if you use your ult during it, then they don't actually combine. So just focus on maximizing the potential damage output from rocket ultimate, even if you're shooting at tanks. And then when that runs out, if you still need to, then you can use your ult. But yeah, you were too focused on like trying to get a big play with your ultimate that you're like, I don't need to. I could just play this objective. That's the enemy cloak ulting. This is good. This is good because once again, they're facing this way and they're gonna like back right up into you. Making it hard to hit in the air. Good, good, good. Yep. Attacking the one at the back. The next person at the back. Yep. Always just go for whoever's at the very back. Did you see how fast they fall apart now? Nobody ever turns around in this game. This is good. Applying damage. Yep, get out. Perfect. Stand still. Stand still. Stop wiggling. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's fine because it's Rocket and it's Cloak and Dagger. But if I'm playing like Invisible Woman or yeah, just somebody support that requires a little bit more aim, and you're wiggling back and forth and you're dodging my heals, I'm gonna be like, sit still, mother. But it's fine. This is good. Causing pressure. Following up on Storm. Raid boss down. I like this. I don't like that. I would have dashed to the left. Also, I need to test this, but I have dashed through multiple med packs before and I haven't picked them up. So I wonder if there's either a bug or if you just can't do that or something, but I don't reliably depend on it anymore. You dash this way and into their spawn. That was really dangerous. A better Bucky would have killed you instantly. And if you would have dashed to the left, you had a better chance of surviving. Or, like, you still survive, but I'm just saying a better chance. It was ballsy. They're close to ult, so try and stay alive. You have your cooldowns. They have infinite ammo, which means they want to stand in it. You want to force that. There you go. Yeah. Predictive damage. Okay, so I could feel that one coming. Like, they have the infinite ammo down. They have Bucky and Punisher. You get a really good execute on Rocket. Now's the time to ult. Yeah. Last edit, but this one's important because I didn't realize that for me it's instinctual at this point. But Tracer, who works very similar to Psylocke in many ways in Overwatch, has high mobility. And what you learn to do playing that hero is that you blink when people are looking at you, not when they're shooting. Because when they're shooting, you've already taken the damage or you're dead. So the moment that people are looking at you, by pure 8 years of just nonstop playing this one hero, I have been trained to immediately get out of the way. In this scenario, it's the same concept. The moment that you saw people coming out of spawn and they're looking at you, you don't dash, when they start shooting, you dash when they look at you and immediately either put yourself into a safer position in which you can cloak and execute and re-engage, or you dash and alt, or you dash and cloak a different way and get out of the way. Either, whatever works best in the moment with the tools that you have at your disposal. But yeah, anytime with squishy assassin heroes, you want to use your mobility the moment that they notice you. Because, like I said, when you're playing squishy heroes like that, you die in a second. So that would be the best way to sort of train yourself in the future for all your games. Is like, if they're looking at you, you're about to die. So yeah, remember that. Always just go. It's much easier to go from the side and go for the assassination kills when they're not looking at you than it is to try and take a head-on fight with someone like a Bucky or a Punisher. Anyway, now back to the video. Predicting the damage when it's about to happen. I will throw out my ult sometimes just to not die, because sometimes, like when it gets to overtime like this, I just need to stay alive. If your ult would have gone off, you could have definitely won that fight. You dash out, and then you see all of them here, right? And then you land because you're getting off. You're getting off your left clicks first, and then you take damage. But like when you're in the air falling, it's very easy to predict your movements and figure out where you're going. You had another dash and you have a cloak, but even though typically you wouldn't want to use a second dash or use it dash and not have another dash to get out after your ultimate ends, because you just picked off the rocket and there's only a cloak and dagger left, I would have immediately dashed up and ulted right on top of her head. I would have just said, screw it, I'm taking my chances, because the moment that you hesitate is the moment that you die. And you would have at least like zoned off that, even if you didn't kill anyone, it would have zoned off this entire area that they wouldn't have been able to walk through, and those tanks would have fallen over. And now, because of it, team is doing well.
Final score 3-2-2.
Looks like you won. So yeah, it was a win, which is great. But there's just a few things I would change between like your tank and your Psylocke. It's all really good. I can definitely tell you're a lot more comfortable on Psylocke than you are on Magneto. I can see the confidence you have when playing both heroes. So Psylocke, biggest takeaway is predicting damage before it happens. Positioning yourself in the position that gives you the most benefit, which is usually off to the side. Which was it? It was right. Yeah, it was this. This is like bad aim, and then all of a sudden, look, good aim. Look at how much damage you're getting off. Every time you're rotating a Psylocke, and I'm guilty of this too. I need to be better about it. So let me be clear. Like, I'm not perfect, but this is something I've noticed about myself as well. This area right here is like one of my favorite things that you've done in this entire game. You are near your team. You could be within LOS of your allies if you jump up here. You have cover right here to be able to reload behind, but also safe. You're peeking and dishing out a ton of damage and can easily get to safety without much work. So this is like one of my favorite plays. Every time you play Psylocke, try to do stuff like this where you rotate around 90 degrees and you're shooting and applying pressure. And the moment that it gets dicey, you can dash away to safety, rotate around, and keep doing that over and over and over again. And you'd be surprised how much pressure you can apply. Because like even right here, you don't get any kills, but you're applying so much pressure that it would just it would make it very difficult for them to move the objective. What was the other part? Oh, I remember the other thing was the not there. This part. The alt. This one? No. Not. It's when you lost the alt. Yeah. You hear the amplifier, your team is fighting. This is downtime. Your team is doing well, but they're doing well without you. Don't let that happen. Utilize that amplifier. You change from being a squishy or a sort of pokey little mosquito to a bursty, powerful character with a little bit with like a good mid range. Uh, you were thinking so much about the big play that like you won that fight even with dying and without using your ultimate. You could have just stayed there with your numbers advantage. Like after you got the execute as well. Like you had numbers already. Don't overthink it. Just sometimes you just need to stick near your team, play like a brawler, and just pump damage into them. Especially like I said, when you don't have these cooldowns, you do not want to go near enemy territory. And let's see what was. Other than that, for like your Psylocke's really good. Like you were taking a lot of angles, you were going up and around, you were very tricky and with your jukes and staying alive. And overall, there's a couple of things to polish, but it was really solid all around. You have a good understanding of like where you should be most of the time. And once again, attacking the people at the back because like look how Rocket tries to get away. Nobody's looking at him. Now you're attacking Cloak and Dagger. Nobody's looking at her. And now it's just cleanup. That was super successful for you. Do that every single time. Just try to keep doing that over and over again. And if you ever see someone is like 30-5, I don't care if you solo alt them the rest of the game. You make sure that they just have a bad time. You might even get them to tilt and just be like, I don't know what's going on, but it starts to get in their head because they're like, why is this person repeatedly solo alting me? It's just like, because they're the problem. Like, I would have just done that the rest of the game. I just would have made his day really, really bad because he's clearly the one like carrying their team. But yeah, other than that, the Magneto, saving your bubbles specifically for your low health squishy allies and trying to keep them alive or enabling them will take you a long way. And also being a little bit more confident of your angles. Like I said, like with this one here, peeling was good, but like, yeah, right here was the play I remember. This, you could be playing, like you have plenty of health, you have your shield, you could have been playing right in this area and poking and been really safe because the only person who can see you from this spot right here would be Magneto and Venom, but Venom can't reach you. Magneto is not going to be able to do enough damage, especially with two supports behind you. And was this one Bucky was up top? I think it might have been. Yeah, because like right there, you could have. You should have been prepared to. Oh yeah, because you heard your cloak ult and she was in the air, and you had bubble ready. You should have been trying to find her for sure. But that's the only thing. Like if you use your bubbles most of the time from now on, just on squishy targets, like whenever they engage or whenever you need to save someone, you'll win just by letting them carry you essentially. Like I said, I'm not a great in my tank video, I'm not a great tank player, but I know what it's like when I'm playing Psylocke and suddenly I get a bubble and I have an extra like second or two of time. And you know what that means for you when you're in the fight and sometimes you have to reload or sometimes you just need a little bit extra time. That's what that bubble is for. If a tank has full health and they have their resources, they don't need the bubble. But there have been a couple of times you bubbled Venom when he was getting out where he just wasn't going to live otherwise. But that's fantastic. Use these as like either enabling or life-saving tools. Like pretty much all of this stuff. And then from then on, like everything else is just poking, doing damage from afar, and trying to follow up on whoever your Spider-Man is diving, because Spider-Man is he is a DPS that is not my favorite to see on my team. Even with the Venom team up, he's not very good. But you know that because of the fact that he has like low damage, if you get one extra poke off on whoever he's diving at the time, that person probably dies. So I would just be trying to play around and be mindful of that if he's on my team or follow up on anyone that. But otherwise, like yeah, in between whenever Spider-Man dives in and attacks someone, and either he gets someone or he doesn't, and then he gets out. But when he gets out, that's 8 seconds that he has to wait for his cooldowns to come back. And during that time, I would have just been saying like, screw this guy. Like I would just be making his day terrible. That would be my goal the rest of the time. Like even if I had Magneto ult and I saw their Winter Soldier ulting, I would have solo ulted him so many times. I would just been like, no, I'm not letting you do this anymore. Uh, but yeah, overall, like really solid. You guys still, uh, you still got the win, but like there's just a couple of things where you could change your positioning slightly and manage your resources a little bit better, and your games will suddenly feel a lot easier and a lot less stressful. But yeah, really solid plays all around. Anyway, I think that covers it for this one. If you have any other questions, let me know. But otherwise, yeah, let me know if this was helpful and if if it helps you rank up. Anyway, that's it for this one. I don't know. Hopefully, I'll get some more VOD reviews and stuff in the future. But yeah, thanks again for submitting.